The traditional way of creating courses, coaching programs, workshops, digital programs is broken. I see a lot of coaches, course creators spend months perfecting their product only for it at a launch date when they release it to flop, or maybe they get 1 or 2 people interested. But in the last 4.5 years, I've been using a different approach that flips this on its head. And I actually got paid to create my own coaching courses, digital products, even testing lead magnets before I create them. And in this video, I want to show you how you too can get potentially paid for creating your own stuff, right? And just to give you a bit more context, in the last 4.5 years, I've launched over 10 of my own products. Each time I got paid to create them, and most of them did at least multiple 5 figures, meaning at least $20,000 in sales, usually more. A lot of them did at least 5, some did over 6 figures, but most of them did multiple 5 figures. So what I'm about to share with you is not just some theory, but I put it to the practice. Now, why most course creators and coaches fail at this is because, again, they go to their cave, they have this like really cool idea in their head, and they get obsessed with that idea. They're like, yeah, this is going to be an amazing product. They go behind the scenes and they spend hours upon hours, usually weeks, often months, creating this product, thinking of the name of the modules, of how they're going to deliver, all this kind of stuff. And again, they spend so much time and energy, but when the time comes for them to launch it, it usually flops. And the reason that is because they haven't really validated the idea, tested it, and see if there is any interest to it, right? And if you're like, I'm gonna see it, well, for the last 4.5, nearly 5 years, I've done this in a different way. What I did is I sold the idea first, I collected the money first, and only then I went on to create the products and services or launch services, etc. So again, what I did is I would go to my audience and I would pitch them the idea. I would tell them like, hey folks, it can be really simple. It can be a simple post, multiple posts, an email, doesn't matter, stories on Facebook, right? Where you come and you are like, you test for the idea and you ask people, hey, if I were to do this and maybe charge for it, would you want to get it? And there are 2 ways that I've used, at least, to validate the ideas before I launched. One is one-to-many, where again, if you have some audience, if you've been publishing on some social media channel, you can simply ask people. This does require that you have some know, like, and trust and some goodwill with these people, that they believe that you can get them the outcome that you are talking about, right? But if you don't have it, there is another way, which is like simply reaching out to people on Messenger, or if you're on other social media, like it doesn't really matter, but basically in the DMs, and asking people that way, validating it again. So I've done both, but mostly I did the first one because I'm really big on content, on selling one-to-many. So what I've done over the years is oftentimes I would ask people in the simple Facebook post, oftentimes it's those colored background posts, and I would say, hey, I'm thinking of doing X, Y, and Z on this topic. Would you be interested? And sometimes I get crickets. And imagine if I spend 2 months creating something only for no one to be interested. Other times I get a bit response, and that's where you need to use your judgment to be like, is this worth kind of like putting your time, energy, and effort into it? If not, it's easy, you don't do it. Other times I get a lot of responses and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a banger and I can sell it. Even then, when I get response, here's another really important lesson that I want you to realize. At the end of the day, people vote with their wallets, right? And what this simply means is that, yeah, maybe they will tell you like overwhelmingly, yes, we would get this. But when it comes time to pay, they don't, right? And this is an issue. So it's not enough just to check the pulse. Sometimes you can, especially for lower ticket stuff. But if something is pricier, or if it's gonna take you a lot of time and effort to build something, I do actually recommend getting them to pay as well. And if you're like, how I'm gonna sell something if it's not created, we'll cover that as well. So here are a couple of examples. I have my what's called bullets here, not to forget something. So you can create exclusive beta spots where they will get some additional perks. Maybe they will work closer with you. They get special price. Usually I almost always, if not always, offered special price for beta takers, right? Offer more support, bonuses, etc. And you can tell them that based on their feedback, you will create a product. Imagine you're basically building product with someone and they get to see it first, to test it, to tell you if they like it. If they don't, they give you feedback and you improve it for them. So that's one of the ways. And also it's really important to be transparent. You're not gonna sell them and then, oh, this is not created. Like you tell them ahead of time, like, I'm thinking of doing this. If you get it now, you're gonna be one of the like beta testers. I'm gonna give you this price. I'm also gonna give you this, and that. If you take one of the first X spots, whatever, 5, 10, whatever your gem is. And this will flip the entire creation process on its head. Because again, a lot of coaches, course creators, they spend, I don't know, months creating only to get crickets. And I get paid before I even create, right? And this also like helps. This is, I guess, side benefit where they hold you accountable as well, because okay, people paid, now you need to create it, right? That's nice bonus to it. Now I already hear you, like some of you thinking, I don't have an audience to validate it, like how do I do it? Or I can't promise some big result because maybe you don't have it, which by the way, be careful if you're selling, if you don't know how to get some result. But a couple of things I want to give you, like real life case studies of how I've done it and what was helpful for me. So first time I did this was like I was a beginner. I didn't have big authority, didn't have big brand, didn't have big audience, and couldn't promise therefore like big outcome. And still, what I did, really simple, Facebook post, colored background ones, you probably saw them, and I just asked people like, if I were to create masterclass for $7 on how to triple or quadruple your engagement on Facebook, would you take it? And I got a ton of people to be like, yes, yes, yes. And at the time I didn't know I created it and then I sold it, but still I got a lot of those people who said yes. Obviously not everyone will buy, but a lot of them said yes. And these were my first product that I launched of my own. Sold 10 spots at $7. It's not a lot of money, but it was huge for me. Imagine coming up with something, creating it, and then pre-selling it and selling it. It was big for me. And what I want you to notice, didn't have huge authority, didn't have huge audience, and didn't even promise like big outcome, like you'll make whatever, $10,000 or whatnot. I just promised them bigger engagement. And this is, again, why the testing is so powerful, because you can see what people want, right? Another time, is like my first coaching that I launched. It was called Meta Affiliate Revolution. And sorry, it was called Revolution was the course, but the coaching was Affiliate Intensive, right? And another way where you can, I mentioned this, the way you can validate it is not just with content, but with the DMs. So I spoke with a lot of people. They needed help, right? With their content. They couldn't attract the right people. They couldn't get the right leads. They couldn't monetize their products. And I was doing it, right? And we were chatting, and I opened beta spots for this. I opened 7 spots at $1,000 for 6 weeks, right? And I was like, this is what I'm doing. This is what it is. Like, do you want to get it? And before I even tried and started pushing it publicly with my content, I think I sold at least 4 spots, I believe. I can't remember exactly, but it was like 3, 4, 5, whatever. Let's say 4 spots before I even launched or started my coaching, right? I had the price, had the offer, had like the details, and of course I told them that it's gonna be fulfilled in the next 6 weeks. So this is what I've done with the masterclass. This is what I've done with what's called with the coaching. I've done it with the courses as well, multiple different ones. One course that I was doing with one of my business partners, it was sold again with the DMs without some big push. Over first 10 spots got taken at, I believe, $400 initially, and then it doubled and like we went up and up in price. Again, this is the beta kind of like spots. It's lower price, better kind of like deal that you create for your audience. And again, this entire thing is, the idea is validate and check for the demand, check for the pulls, collect payments, and only then create it. I also want to give you like step-by-step guide how to do it. I have it written here so I don't forget some step. Step number 1, ask if someone would be interested in your idea. That is number 1. Again, you can do this either reaching out to people, which is one-on-one in the DMs, or the ones you think would be a good fit. Or you can tell them like, hey, name, I'm thinking of doing something, or you can mention, ideally you spoke with them, or you can tell them like, I know we spoke about X, Y, and Z, and I'm thinking of doing something with small group of people. Would you like to hear more details? Like, you don't pitch them in first message. You just get their permission. And then if they say yes, then you can explain your idea and you will get feedback that way from people. Even if, let's say, all say no, make sure to ask for the feedback on why not, because if you fix those objections that they have, you maybe have a good idea, but like you need to tweak it a bit. Another way, content on social media, if you have email list, stories, etc., just ask people like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this to help you get this outcome. Maybe I will do a workshop on it. Maybe I will charge, like you can do this different ways, and ask them. And based on the feedback, if you get decent amount of responses, then you also reach out to them, try to get them to buy. And yeah, actually, let me not forget some stuff. Now, another thing, you don't need to create the entire funnel and all this crazy stuff. What I recommend is just do a simple Google Doc, write down all the details, all this kind of like stuff, and that's it. You can create a checkout page. You will need this to get paid, obviously. Come up with a name for your thing, like this is the name, this is what it is about in a simple Google Doc, checkout page name, reach out to people who said they were interested, try to enroll them, get them to pay. Like, this is the deal. I have 5 spots. It's $200 now. It's going up to X amount in X amount of time. Do you want to get it, right? And again, if they don't buy, you listen to their objections and see. Then implement what they complain about, especially if you had 3 people tell you the same thing. You can do that and make it just better. And then you can reach out to them, but you can also reach out to others and see if they will buy it now. And again, try to sell. This is what you do. You try to sell. If it doesn't sell, listen to the feedback, improve, try to sell again. And then do this until you finally have a product or service that people want to pay for. And again, at the end of the day, if that idea is really not hitting, it's not working, you can always test a different one. That's it. But better to know now, after a couple of days of testing, than spending 5 months creating something and then realizing that no one wants to buy it, right? Yeah. Anyways, so couple of key takeaways for today. Validate your idea before creating the product, secure early buyers if possible, and stay adaptable, look for that feedback and implement it in your own business. So again, if you have some idea, if you want to sell something, make sure to validate it first, make sure to sell it first. People vote with their wallets, and that should be helpful. If you like this kind of videos, I'll try to do 2 every week, so make sure to subscribe and all this good stuff. And I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.